All right, you are officially done with learning algebraic fractions. Now we're going to move on to a new topic, which is solving systems of linear quadratic equations. Okay, so the first way we're going to learn how to do it is by graphing. So all we have to do is really just graph out our equations and then just see where they intersect with each other. But before we do any graphing, we need to make sure that we set up our axes. We got to make sure our axes are ready to go. So don't forget to label your axes X and Y. And then also you need to make sure that you number your axes as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. You don't have to number every single box unless it's easier for you. I like to go by fives usually. Again, it's up to you, whatever you prefer. And then as you're doing this, remember linear equations are always in the format y equals mx plus b, and then quadratic equations are always in the format y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So that means that this first equation is our quadratic equation and our second one is our linear. Let's do the quadratic equation first, get it out of the way because that's the harder one. Again, you're going to need your calculators for this. So in order to graph out this quadratic equation, what we're going to do is we're going to make a chart of values. Okay, so we're going to say x and y. And generally, we usually have 7 values, but sometimes you can't see where they intersect. So you might need to make more than 7 values in your chart, okay? So for right now, I'll start with 7 and see if it's enough. If I don't have enough, then I'll keep going, all right? And don't forget that the middle value is always going to be your axis of symmetry. Hopefully you remember the formula to find the axis of symmetry. It's x equals negative b over 2a, okay? And don't forget that the a value here is 1, the b value is negative 4, and the c value right here is 9, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to say x equals positive 4 over 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay, so that means your axis of symmetry is x equals 2. That will always go right in the middle of your chart right here. And then you just can go up by the same increments right here. All right. And then you can find your table of values here by plugging in all of these numbers into this equation right here. But since we have our graphing calculators, we don't really need to waste our time doing that. So we are going to go ahead and use our graphing calculators for this. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is you need to open up your calculator. Please don't use the scratch pad, use an actual document. And we are going to create a graphs document, okay? And if you remember from Algebra Common Core, f of x is the same thing as y. So we're just going to type in x squared minus 4x plus 9. And then you'll be able to see the graph. But what we want to do is we want to be able to fill in our table of values right here. So what is y when x is negative 1? So if you remember, you can actually get your table of values by pressing Control T for table in your calculator, and here's your table of values. Scroll so that negative 1 is your first value that you have here. That means your corresponding y value is 14. So when x is negative 1, you've got y is 14. When x is 0, you've got y is 9, right? So we'll fill that information in right here. So I'll say this is 14, this is 9, right? And then you can copy the rest of your table of values down. You should get 6, 5, 6, 9, 14. Now, remember, because this is the axis of symmetry right here, the x equals 2 is the axis of symmetry, and 2, 5 is your vertex. This table of values right here for the y values should be symmetrical, all right? So if x is negative 1 and y is 14, it's too high for me to see that on my graph, so I'm not going to worry about that on my graph right now. So I'm going to graph out the remaining values. So when x is 0, y is 9. When x is 1, y is 6. When x is 2, y is 5. Okay. And then when x is 4, when x is 3, y is 6. When x is 4, y is 9. graph it all out together, and you'll have your parabola. Hopefully your parabola will look a little bit better than mine does, because it's a little hard to do this on the computer. Okay, so we graphed out our quadratic graph. Now we need to graph out our linear graph. Now remember, your linear graph is always in the format y equals mx plus b. Okay, but this is written out a little bit differently. Because the b went first. So the y-intercept is 5, and then the slope is going to be the coefficient in front of the x, which is 1. So that means that I'm going to graph it out by starting at 5 on the y-axis, and then I'm going to go up 1 over 1. Okay, see if you can find something straight to use as your straight edge. All right, and then here is my graph right here. Don't forget to label your equations. So this is y equals x plus 5. Remember, the commutative property says you can change the order for those, okay? And then this one right here is y equals x squared minus 4x plus 9, all right? And then the solution is just basically where your two equations will intersect with each other. So this graph has two solutions to the system of equations. The first solution is 1, 6, and the second solution is going to be 4, 9. And because it's a set of answers, we put it in brackets like that, and then you're done. But what I want you guys to do right now is I want you to check your answers, okay? So you're going to have to do 2 checks because you have 2 answers, all right? So for your first check, first of all, you need to insert a calculator page. To insert a new page, you press Control Doc, which is adding an extra page. I'm going to insert a calculator document. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check 1, 6 first. So I'm going to store 1 in as x. Press Enter. Sorry, press as x. And then I'm going to store 6 in as y. Oh my goodness, 6 is going to be stored in as y, and then I'm going to type in the first equation, which is y equals x squared minus 4x plus 9, which is true, but I'm not sure that 1, 6 works completely because I also have to check it in the other equation. So y equals 5 plus x. If that's true, once you get both trues, that means that 1, 6 works. Now let's check 4, 9. So I'm going to take 4. I'm going to store it in as x. Okay. I'm going to take 9. I'm also going to store that in as x. Or sorry, as y. I'm going to, 9 store y. Then I can just go up and highlight the first equation, press enter, enter, check it, it's true. Highlight the second equation, enter, enter, that's also true. So that means I know for a fact that my final answer is right. I want you guys to go back to the previous page with the graph. And you can do that by just pressing Control Left. That'll bring you to the previous page. And I want you to press Control Escape. That gets you out. Oh, sorry. Control Left. Oh, sorry. I want you in the graph document. Press Control T. That should get you out of your table. Okay. And then press the Tab button to get a new line so you can type in the other equation, which was y equals 5 plus x. All right. And you can actually check to see where the intersection point is on your graph as well, on your graphing calculator. So the way you do that is by pressing Menu. Then you're going to go to Analyze Graph, which is choice number 6, and then you're going to go to Intersection. And you're going to play with your pad right here, and make sure that you are somewhere to the left of where they intersect, your first intersection point. Go somewhere to the right, and then if you look right here, here's your intersection point, which is 1, 6. Okay? You can't really see the other intersection point, so what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out. So press Menu, Window Zoom, and then zoom out. Okay? And we'll zoom out from here so we can see it a little bit better. Now you can see the other intersection point. We're going to find it as well. So go to Menu,
Analyze graph, intersection, go to the left, go to the right. 4,9 is your other intersection. Now you know for sure that that's right as well. So you've got several different options to check your answer to make sure that you have the right one.